Welcome back, folks. Well, we've had a great show so far.
Mm-hmm.
We've been able to have fun with the news, been able to talk about Maciela's book, and then we met with Bob McFarlane from the Carpet folks. And now we're going to go to the governor with his weekly address, referring to the state of the state.
State.
State of the
Governor.
state. Have fun, guys.
Hello, this is Governor Arnold Schwarzenegger with another California report. Last week, I talked to you about the historic pension reforms that were included in our state budget agreement. They roll back the massive benefit increase that the legislature approved in 1999. They require state workers to contribute more towards their pensions, and they end the outrageous practice of pension spiking, and they require disclosure from the pension fund that hid hundreds of billions of dollars of pension debt. And the list goes on and on and on. Altogether, our reforms will save $100 billion in the decades to come. They also pave the way for local governments to follow suit, because pensions reform is necessary at every level of government. In fact, in San Jose and in San Francisco, there are initiatives on the ballot that include many of the same reforms that we just passed. Now, those will be tough fights, I know that. If there's one thing that I've learned over the last 7 years is that real reform is very, very difficult. There are many obstacles, and you're up against some special interests that will push back really hard. In fact, let me just tell you a quick story about just how tough it was to get our reforms approved in the legislature. In this pension reform battle, I expected organized labor to oppose me. That was a given. And since most Democrats are in bed with labor, I expected them to oppose me too. So I knew that. But what I was really surprised about is to see the Republicans also in bed with the same unions, only hidden under the sheets. Now let me explain. Last week, I was sitting in my office and watching all the budget votes. I was sitting at 2 in the morning. I saw the education bill pass 27-8, and then the transportation bill 28-2, and then the health and human services bill passed, and so on and so forth. But the pension reform bill was one of the most important ingredients to our fiscal reform. All of a sudden got stuck. It couldn't get enough votes. A staff member came to me and he told me, he says, our pension reform bill is stalled because we are short of Republican votes. You mean Democratic votes, I corrected him. And he replied, no. We are short of Republican votes. I said, Republicans? I mean, a group who rails against government spending, the group who preaches fiscal responsibility, the group who accuses the opponents of being controlled by public employees unions. You mean those Republicans? Well, the fact was, it was true. A group of Republicans, including Senators Blakeslee and Dutton, and Assemblyman Jeffries and Cook, sought to block the reforms. They wanted to block the reforms and held eloquent speeches on the floor saying this will be terrible. Don't vote for this. We can't hurt the CCPOA, the prison guard union. This is unfair to them. Now, eventually we found a way around all of this blockade by calling a special session of the legislature, which required, by the way, a trip to the Secretary of State, Deborah Bowen's house at 3 in the morning, knocking on her door and getting a signature from her. But this allowed us to pass the bill with a simple majority vote instead of the 2/3 vote. And by the way, we got all the Democratic votes that we expected, except there was, like I said, this hang-up with the Republicans. Now here's the most amazing part. After the pension reforms were passed, some Republicans, including Assemblyman Miller and Logue, changed their vote so that the official record would not reflect their opposition. Now think about that. Why would they do that? Not only did they try to block reform, but they did not even have the courage to publicly stand behind their action. See, they were worried when they go back to their districts that maybe people will find out that they sided with labor rather than with the taxpayers. Now, let's not forget that we're talking here about savings to the taxpayers of $100 billion over the next few decades. Now, that is sad. Maybe these Republicans just simply sold out because they got campaign contributions from the state prison guard unions. I don't know. I mean, you figure it out. I mean, altogether, I checked the record. The legislators that I just mentioned have accepted more than $75,000 in contributions from that union. $75,000. Now, normally you get $1,000, a $500 contribution, or $2,000, but $75,000. Why did they give them all this money? Maybe to fight against the pension reforms. Maybe. I mean, you figure it out. Thank you for watching, and thank you for listening.
Jason left.
No, I didn't. Right here, folks.
Wow.
We're going to eventually quickly go to a clip from Maciela from her first interview here with us. But before we do, we want to mention a couple things that are going on. First things first, we've got the Zombie Bondage Ball, which is coming up at Audie's Olympic on Friday, October 29th. It's definitely something you guys might want to attend. It's very interesting, especially if you like zombies or bondage or balls.
Seriously?
Yeah, I'm not going anywhere past that one. And then, Ash, you know more about this one than I do. Poe's Tales
Wow.
of Terror.
Okay, and if you're past all the other stuff that Jason just talked about, we have Poe's Tales of Terror, which is actually free through the Fresno Library. If you go to any of the library locations, you can get tickets for free. It runs this Friday, October 22nd, 23rd, and then again on the 29th, 30th, and October 31st. All the dates, 22nd through the 30th, are at 8 p.m. The 31st is actually 2 o'clock matinee, so bring your kids out. It's not too scary. I'm in it, so I know what's going on there, and it's a lot of fun. It's down at the Sanctuary, which is down in Calaveras and N Street, I believe.
Sounds right.
Yeah, it's right near the Marjorie Mason Center, and it's a good time. Bring the kids out to a free show. It's a good way to expose them to theater. It's a little scary, so make sure they're not too young. But yeah, it's going to be a good time. All shows free.
Ooh,
So yes, again,
great.
the 22nd and 23rd at 8 p.m., the 29th and 30th at 8 p.m., 31st at 2 o'clock.
Well, I'll probably take the kids to that.
I don't know.
You
Your
don't know?
kids might get scared.
Oh, maybe. My son loves getting scared, though. My daughter, I don't know. Not so much.
Don't worry, there's no guts and stuff like
Yeah.
that. We're not going to get in the audience and jump on them. The kiddies might.
Kids might?
No, the kitties. We have, one of the scenes is the black cat, which is one of Poe's writings, and they're so cute. I love our little kitties, Kayla and Diane, and they're people. They're not, like, kitties. But, they're very interactive, and they're just fun. They're a lot of fun. So, yeah, bring the kids out. It's going to be a good time, a free show. Any of the branches of the local library, the downtown branch, the Woodward Park, I believe the Sunnyside, all of them will have the tickets or tell you how to get them.
That's great.